Hello there, guys. This is going to be a little unorthodox, so bear with me, please. This is basically not a live stream. So this is a segment of Stellar Blade that I had played just after Abaddon. But essentially what ended up happening is I ran around this next segment for, I'm not even fucking kidding you, about 2 hours. And I got really tilted. So, rather than sitting there and listening to me bitch and whinge all the time, I thought it might be a little bit better to just commentate the part that you missed that will connect to the next part, if that makes sense. So, this is basically a new file that I started to play alongside my main file for the playthrough. And it's still blind, I assure you, it's still blind. I have not proceeded any further past where I stopped at. So, I made it up to Gigas, and I beat Gigas. I beat him in 2 tries. Essentially, this part and a couple parts after were just really salty. It was me mainly bitching about controls, lack of responsiveness, getting fucking wombo comboed by enemies, and all sorts of shit. So I figured this might be a little bit more fun for you all. So basically, what I've been doing is I've been messing around with the mechanics of the game. Now, I've been wondering why that attack doesn't work all the time, the one I just did. So, you'll see that the little ring that just completed lights up. So if you look in the lower right-hand corner, where the north, east, west, and south icons are for my special moves, there's a little triangle icon. It looks like a double triangle. And basically, what that allows you to do is it allows you to do the hyper dash into a target after a perfect deflect or a dodge or whatever. And I've been wondering, I keep calling it the retaliatory move. That's what I call it. And somebody had said, I can't recall who, wondered if there was a cooldown on it. And they said, is there a cooldown? And I said, I don't know. The game hasn't really explained anything. And at first they thought that it took BE meter, the beta meter. And it doesn't, it just has a short cooldown. Now, I surmise that the reason that this move has a cooldown is because it'd be far too abusable on bosses, and it would trivialize the game because you'd just be able to overwhelm your targets. Now, one of the main gripes that I had while playing the game is multiple enemy scenarios like this. So this game, from what you can see, has a lot of animation commitment. And that gets me fucked right here. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So when you're in the middle of a swing, what I mean by this is when you're in the middle of an action, you can't cancel that action and course correct to do something else. So if you're attacking an enemy and it does a wind up and you'd rather dodge than commit to your attack, you can't cancel the attack into a dodge. You just can't do it. And I get why it's in the game, I just find it really annoying. I would rather have the freedom to be able to course correct and be able to acclimate and adapt to whatever I'm fighting on the spot, rather than strictly adhere to the rules of combat that the game provides. They're basically saying, here, play it the way that we constructed it, play it the way that we want you to, not the way that you want to. And it doesn't make you feel like you're in absolute control. And I think that kinda sucks in terms of game design, especially for action RPG style games, where you'll commonly find this issue. And it's very prevalent in fighting games as well, but what fighting games typically have is a cancel. Like, there's certain moves that you can cancel your commitment to and respond or retaliate in a different way. So if you're winding up a punch, like let's say you're playing Tekken, and if you're winding up a punch and you don't want to commit, because you see they're going for a block, you can cancel. Now some fighting games you can cancel directly into another action, but that's very heavily abusable. So you can usually cancel into what's called a dormant state, or a standby. You basically can't commit from one action to another action by canceling another action, right? So that makes sense, that's fair. So this is my playthrough of Stellar Blade that I'm playing alongside my other file. And I did find that I had missed a couple upgrades. I'm messing around with the mechanics and I'm also messing around with the beta moves. So these enemies were kicking my ass for quite a while. And as you can see here in a minute, if I recall correctly, okay, I don't recall getting bitch slapped in the face, but it's right there, it's on video. See, the blink move. The blink move was something that was fucking me up a wall because I couldn't get it to consistently work. And I did find out that it is consistent. It's absolutely consistent. It's just a factor of timing. Much like the rhythm, parry elements of the game. It is very consistent, as you can see. It just took some acclimation. So, basically, I am going to tell you guys when it's a part like this, where it's filler, and it's not live streamed, just to be wholly upfront. Because I don't fancy lying to people. I don't want to put on a guise of, hey look, I beat this boss first try when I really didn't. And such so is the case of the Corruptor, the green dog thing. That thing beat my fucking ass into the ground. I mean, it killed me like 5 times. Granted, I almost killed it on my first try or second try, I think. But what I failed to realize, what I neglected, is that you can buy additional heals from the vending machines, and for whatever reason, I just forgot entirely about it, so I was only trying to fight it with base heals. So I know it's my first playthrough and everything, and I don't expect to beat everything on the first try, but don't hold it against me too much, because I forgot. I didn't know you could buy more heals. You know, whatever, so it kind of beat my ass, way more than it should have. And I was struggling with its moveset quite a bit, and I couldn't get the parry to react consistently. Now, from what I've realized in playing the game is that certain enemies have certain timings. Of course, every enemy is different. But there's certain enemies that attack instantly, and you have to parry right when their hit would connect with you, or right before their hit would connect with you. And there's other enemies whose animations are completely desynced. It's so fucking weird. Like, you'll notice that there's these little wheel-like tendril enemies that poke me, and regardless of how I time it, whether I do it early or whether I do it right when it's about to hit me, it doesn't seem to matter too much. And it's kind of frustrating, I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit annoying. But hopefully, this gameplay showcases a little bit more Stellar Blade, and hopefully it showcases a little bit more of what's possible in the game when you know what you're doing. Not that I know what I'm doing fully yet, but we're going to be coming upon a segment where I got stuck into the loop of running around for multiple hours, having no idea what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea where to go, there was no direction, there was seemingly no linearity, and even when I figured out where to go, it wasn't where you were supposed to go, but it was. But there was no sign that it was, immediately, like it wasn't immediately apparent. So I got really frustrated, and I looped around here, I'm not even kidding, for literally 2 hours, I kid you not. Fighting enemies over and over and over again, trying to acclimate and adjust to all the mechanics and the combat and everything. Now, I was getting my fucking ass beat into the ground, which is what made me so hostile and fucking salty, and I was a little bit bitter, I was a little bit pissy for a lot of the stream because of it. So, basically, essentially, what you're going to see here is me doing all the exploration around this area that I had done on stream. And that's killing all the enemies, that's looking through all the boxes, opening all the openable containers, getting all the collectibles, getting all the upgrades that I may have missed, literally everything that I could think of possible to do. Everything that I think I would have done on stream when I had played it on my initial run is what this is going to be. So you're essentially seeing the entirety of that missing segment. And this track is fucking beautiful. This track is great, but I had to listen to it on loop for like 2 hours. So it never really got better. If anything, I came to really not appreciate it. Yeah, but here you can see me fighting the Dozer. So this is a new enemy introduction. So that's another reason why I didn't want to just skim over this part and be like, hey, there's a part of my Stellar Blade playthrough that's fucking missing. Because this enemy introduction, it's like, if I just randomly start fighting this enemy, you guys are going to be like, where the fuck did he run into this enemy? So yeah, this is its introduction. So welcome to the Dozer. This thing is basically like a bull. It just kind of charges into you. And it has a couple weird attacks that you really didn't get to see. So as you can see here, I already know there's an enemy hiding behind this button, so I've already done it. Now, like playing through naturally, obviously you wouldn't know that that enemy is there and you'd round the corner and get whapped in the mouth, right? But here, check this out. This guy was giving me such a hard time before. This guy was giving me such a hard time with that blue grapple. But wait until you see how I deal with the blue grapple now. Not on that map. A little bit later. I think I'm mixing up the dudes that are easily mix-upable. So essentially what you have to... These are the little ring guys I was talking about with the whippy tails. These are those things. Now the big ones aren't too bad. I can parry the big ones, but the small ones just don't make any fucking sense. Like, the timing on the small ones is completely weird. and it's just a little
go
odd.
there to get to the transportation device.
So Adam's drone says that I need to go through the parking garage. And from what I've come to understand is that you need fusion drives or fusion cells or whatever to be able to power the little turnstile gateway key things to be able to open the doors, right? Now, I didn't notice this glowing green car at all. I did not even notice this car because I was too focused on killing this fucking dozer before in my stream. So, you killed this thing, and apparently purple attacks are an upgrade that I don't have yet, so I can't deal with purple attacks, which is kind of a gripe that I have with this game. I love enemies having a differentiatory moveset and having, like, crazy wombo combo, like, mega dick attacks that they can just pull out of nowhere, but if I don't have the capability to deal with them, I would appreciate them instilling them with further ahead versions of those enemies, rather than give you an attack that can't be contended with. I think that's kind of poor design, especially for a game where they expect you to acclimate, especially on the fly. Now, I've heard a lot of people say this game is incredibly challenging, and it is challenging. I don't think it's uber hard, though, because they give you additional heals in the vending machines. That isn't to say that it isn't pressuring and it doesn't put pressure on you, and there's absolutely no incentive and there's no pressure to acclimate, because there most certainly is. Like, you have to adapt. Like, the game has a forced nature of adaptation, especially when you're face to face with the giant boss and you have no idea what it does. You have to learn on the fly pretty goddamn fast. If not, you're gonna just die 10, 15 times. So after gathering that collectible, we're gonna head up to the roof up here. And this is the spot where you're gonna see me deal with the grippy, grabby guys that I was talking about. Now, this game also works on a basis of skills and stuff like that, so I've been experimenting with the different skills as well. And I need to figure out the additional attacks and the combo nature. So as you can see, I can get those blue blink counters pretty consistently now. And I wasn't really able to get them anywhere near as consistently before. And I don't know if that's just because I was live streaming and it was a little bit more desynced. I don't know if I had my attention spurned between multiple things. I don't know. But anyway, I'm playing a lot better in this than I did in my stream. That's for damn sure. So, we're gonna gather this crate here, and then we're gonna hop down and we're gonna go into the parking garage. And it's my hope that I can explain why it's understandable that I got lost here for so long. So here we put the fusion drive that we got from the car into this little turnstile device. And then it opens up this flooded parking garage.
I know, but it's our only
Now,
option.
obviously, you would expect to have to explore underwater because it's flooded. It goes without saying, right? Comes with the territory. But seemingly, the only place that you can go is a hole through this wire mesh gate. Now, I go down here and there's a body that we're going to examine. And he's going to give us a passcode, a key. And this game seems to have a very prevalent nature of that. So he's going to give us a passcode real quick. And then you take this passcode and you're like, where do I use it? I haven't seen anywhere that would require a passcode that I would need this for, right? So there's a little white dot icon down here on this, and this is the keypad where you have to enter this code. Now, I didn't see this until about an hour and a half in. So an hour and a half in is where I started kind of getting my progress. And what I did in my initial stream is I came and I opened this door. And when you open this door, guess what you're met with? A seemingly dead end, but it's not a dead end. It just seems like it is. So we're going to travel through the door here real quick, and we're going to go into this elevator shaft. Now you go down and there's a polymer down here, like a high-grade polymer. And then you go up and there's a cable that you can grip onto, and it sends you up the elevator shaft to the next level. No, like, I didn't even fucking see that for the longest time, so I was just running around here for hours, literal hours, trying to figure out what to do and where to go.